Let's talk panic meter on one of our favorite rookie quarterbacks from 2021. It's Justin Fields. Up and down year. Controversy about how he was handled. Some good games, showed some flashes, some bad games as well. On the season in 2021, 58.9% of his passes were completed, 1,870 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. On the ground, pretty impressive. 420 rushing yards with 2 tutties. Missed 5 games, COVID and injuries and the ribs and whatever. So we're talking from a dynasty perspective. If I own Justin Fields or I might want to go trade for him, what's a panic meter? A 10 is I'm completely out. I'm avoiding it. And a 1 is, dude, I'm not worried at all. The talent's going to show out. Where do you sit, Badake?
Yeah, look, I'm at a 2 right now. The talent is going to show out. I completely believe in Justin Fields. And if you've been following our other channel, Fantasyland Football, you know that I've been saying Justin Fields could and probably will be the most successful quarterback from the 2021 draft class. I love everything that he brings to the game, and he's a mobile quarterback, okay? But let's look at the situation when he got into the league. You know, obviously they got Andy Dalton. They didn't know they were going to get Justin Fields. Then they get Justin Fields. Then it was all controversy. Should we start Andy Dalton? Should we start Justin Fields? Yeah. It was back and forth. It was shaky. There was no confidence when starting.
And the
Justin
worst
Fields.
part about that, by the way, was that they committed to something and then they were wishy-washy throughout the entire process. I think back and forth.
Once they committed, they were like, "Damn, we shouldn't have done that."
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Yeah. Anyways, look. Obviously, the next big thing was Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy with the history with the Bears just wasn't the best for a very long time. So they get rid of him, and now the situation can only get better. Okay, they just hired Ryan Poole, the new GM, Chiefs player personnel, and there's a lot of hope there. But obviously, on the field in a dynasty, fantasy football related perspective, I think it's great. I think Justin Fields is accurate. He throws dart passes and he can use his legs. 72 attempts on the ground, 420 yards. He was the 5th in rushing amongst all quarterbacks. I don't know if you knew that. He was 5th in rushing.
Yeah, that's impressive considering he missed 5 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't start for 2 of them.
He was up there with obviously the Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, all these Lamar Jackson. He was up there. I believe in Justin Fields, and I think you guys should buy in as well because, one, what we look for in a fantasy football perspective, rushing upside, a dual threat quarterback.
That safe floor.
Yeah, exactly. And if he's doing that already and he's up with the top 5, imagine if he has a full season, fully committed, they're going to build around him. I don't see how Justin Fields can really fail, to be completely honest.
So I'm at a panic meter 3. And I always like when we have controversy so we can go back and forth. But I mean, we're on the same page here. One thing I wanted to talk about in particular was the growth throughout the season. Who remembers, I believe week 3 was his first start versus Cleveland.
Oh my goodness.
I was so excited. Cleveland had nine total sacks. The offensive line allowed Justin Fields and the head coach management allowed Justin Fields to get destroyed. And the confidence was shattered from a very early point in the season. And Myles Garrett, I think, had 4.5 sacks on his own. Then you start to see some growth in his game from week 6 to 9. Made some impressive throws. There's still some long ball accuracy I think he needs to slightly improve on. There's some balls that it's so beautiful, but it's just slightly inaccurate. And I think he improves that throughout the offseason with good coaching. But then you look from weeks 6 to 9, right? In that 4-game span, he was a top 12 fantasy quarterback.
Right.
That's when he started to utilize his legs and kind of played his game. Said, actually, you know what? I just need to go out and ball. And I saw that from week 6 to 9. And then obviously for the rest of the season, injuries, COVID. But there's one game in particular, if you're on the fence about Justin Fields, that I want you to go back and rewatch. I don't know if you remember this game. This was week 14 versus the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. Could really see something special coming together for Justin Fields. Now, he had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but he also ran for 74 yards against a really, really good defense. And more importantly, I saw the grit, the passion, and the determination from Justin Fields because they were down in that game. And you could see him leading that comeback. He almost got that comeback win. There were some pretty shitty calls during that game, excuse my language, but like there were some calls where it should have been a touchdown, but the refs overcalled it for some blocking flag. But anyway.
That was that I Own You game, wasn't it?
No, that wasn't. That was the second time.
That was the second
one,
time.
yeah.
Right.
But look, I saw the grit, the arm strength, the legs, the off-rhythm throws. I saw the competitor, okay? Yeah. And I believe in him as a talent, like Badake said. But secondly, I see what he could be in Dynasty. and the rushing upside is going to present such a safe floor. However, some reasons why I'm slightly worried, and it's a 3, not a 1, is because of the offensive line in particular and the uncertainties around him as far as weapons. Okay. So last year, the offensive line, multiple times, Justin Fields got destroyed, and that offensive line was ranked 22nd according to PFF. I mean, Jason Peters looks like he should be retired. I mean, he cannot keep up with the defensive ends in today's game. They need to improve the O-line. And if they can do that, just improve the O-line, let's say they get a top 15 O-line, I think he can finish as a top 12 quarterback next year if we're going to talk about predictions for next season. I do think he can finish top 12. And if I'm going to give you a statistical prediction, I think that pass completion percentage goes from around 58 to around 62. He gets around 3,000 yards. This is assuming that he plays every game, by the way. 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 620 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, David Montgomery, hopefully will be all good to go and will be his target. So
they still need some more people, though.
But let me say one thing, one last thing. Could you imagine if they somehow got Chris Olave in this draft?
The connection. We saw that a lot last year.
Reunited from the Ohio State days in Chicago. That would be amazing for Justin Fields' dynasty stock. What's your predictions for next year? We're obviously on the same page, but where do you see him?
Yeah, look, the predictions you gave was somewhat similar. I have him a little bit higher, 3,400 passing yards, 16 touchdowns with 623 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. So
gave him that extra 3.
Yeah, I gave him that extra 3. So I think it's really close. It's really similar. I think he's going to be in the top, once again, still top 5 in rushing quarterbacks, but I do see him finishing as a top 12, top 10 quarterback next year if he does play every single game and gets all the opportunity and weapons. I mean, they have to bring weapons.
Have to. And A-Rob's probably gone, so you got to replace him. Let's talk about what his current value is in Dynasty, okay? So if you were to go out and trade for him, what would you be willing to give up for him, Badake?
Look, there's no way in the world that I can get less than a first round. I don't even want a middle of the first round.
No, let's say you were going to go trade for him.
Oh, trade for him. Sorry, excuse me.
What would you be willing to give up?
A first. 101, 102.
Okay.
I mean, I need to get... I mean, that's what I would do. I think that's worth it.
You'd be willing to do that. You'd be willing to get rid of the 101.
If I had a decent team right now, if I had foundations, of a wide receiver, maybe some youth in my wide receiver room, let's say, your running back room is decent as well, I would probably trade the 101 in this year's draft because I don't truly believe in the quarterback talent to get a Justin Fields. Maybe one of these guys are higher on Justin Fields and they didn't like what they saw and they believe in Kenny Pickett or somebody. So, yeah, I'm willing to give up the 101, 102.
Yeah, that's something I thought about as well. I thought to myself, is there a quarterback in this year's class that I would prefer over Justin Fields? No, there's not. I mean, maybe Malik Willis has higher upside, but there's a way lower floor.
Yeah.
So there's not a quarterback in this class I like more. So I would be willing to give up the 101, 102. Yeah. I would prefer to give up like the 103, 104, but depends on where you are. It's something I definitely would be willing to do.
Yeah.
And if you're going to sell him, don't. Just hold.
Please.
So what do you guys think about Fields? Are you on the same page as us? Leave a comment down below.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.